Good evening. What's happening, y'all? It is Cowboys Nation joining you live from Players Choice. I got my fellas with me today, and we are ready to get it on. It is our 13th episode, November 28th. It is 9 p.m. Central Time, and we thank you very much for joining us. And below me, I got that dude, Tony Goat Romo. How you doing, baby? Welcome in.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here again. I can't believe it's already week 13. That you gotta like pinch yourself, you know?
It's almost over,
Are we
man.
really
It's
in
almost
week
over.
13 after Thanksgiving?
It's here, baby.
But I'm glad to be on again with you guys again, ready to talk Cowboys football.
We're glad to have you back, man. We are glad to have you back. We missed you. We love you. We're glad you're here. And of course, to my left, I guess it is on the screen here, we got the big fella, the living the life of the 300 pounders, Mr. Dallas Cowboy Chris. How are you doing, big fella? I butchered the shit out of that. You want to fix it for me?
Hey, man, it's simple, man. It's me, Dallas Cowboy Chris. I'm always living the life of the 300-pound club. Hey, man, it's wonderful, man, to come back on. I've been gone a couple of weeks myself, but I am excited, man, to get here. In the words of Bill Parcells, you know what type of team you got after Thanksgiving. So it's after Thanksgiving. Well, let's see what we got, baby, and let's rock and roll.
Season starts now, baby. Season starts now. This is where we get to the nitty-gritty of it, and it's time because we got some games coming up on this schedule, starting with Thursday night this week. And we're going to get into it, but before we get into anything, I want to go over this narrative real quick with y'all, man, because there's been a lot of things tossed around about these Dallas Cowboys and the fact that they just keep blowing out all these teams, and everybody keeps telling us, y'all ain't played nobody. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Y'all just out here beating these mediocre under 500 teams, and I just want to gauge the temperature in the room. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. What you got?
Well, yeah, first off, as your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan, they're not wrong, right? Like, if you look at the schedule, they're not wrong. The Cowboys have not been anyone over 500. But, I mean, it's the way that you win, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at the Minnesota Vikings from last season, right? They were like 8-1, 9-1, but their point differential was insane. It was like plus 3 points. And, you know, they could easily be 1-8, but they were 8-1, and they were really good at closing those games. But if you look at the Cowboys, I would maybe lean towards that argument if these games were super close, right? Like if we were beating the Panthers by a field goal, or if we took the Giants to overtime, maybe I might give you some leeway with that argument. But the point is, and I said this last year with the Eagles too, right? Like the teams don't choose who they play. They just have to play them. The schedule's already made. And you got to kind of just got to deal with the narrative until you beat someone that's good enough. So, you know, Cowboys, they're good, man. I mean, we can't choose who we play, and they're partially right, you know, the critics that are saying that, because we had two chances. You got the 49ers and the Eagles, and, you know, we didn't beat them. But kind of like Chris said, you know, kind of like how Bill Parcells said, this is where it really matters after Thanksgiving. And boy, oh boy, do we got a slate of games. We will know who this team is come playoff time. We will know because we got some tests coming up. So that's where I'm at with it.
Chris, where you at, baby?
Well, as your biased and unrealistic fan, it's like this with me, bro. I really don't care about what people say about the Cowboys and who they played, because there's always a narrative against the Cowboys, okay?
That's right.
You know, you love us or hate us, and it don't matter if we beat somebody by 40 or we barely won, or if we lose to Arizona, we're the suckiest team in the world. We get blown out by the Niners, y'all the worst team in there. But we're like, if we beat the Jets, who we blew them out, who beat the Eagles, but it don't matter. The Jets didn't have this at this time. It's ridiculous. It's always the back and forth just because people don't like the Cowboys, and the media especially want to push this narrative that the Cowboys hadn't played anybody. But if I challenge anybody to go back to look at Philadelphia's record last year and the teams they played last year, and y'all said they were the best team ever, the greatest team ever, and they played nobody. Nobody. But this year, the Cowboys are playing basically the same teams that happened to Philadelphia last year, and now it's the narrative that we hadn't played nobody. like Ruth said, like Kyle said, we play who's on the schedule. Okay. We messed up against the Niners, and we should have beat the Eagles, but shoulda, coulda, woulda don't get you anything. So that's why I'm glad it's a division game. We get to play them again. So it's after Thanksgiving. Everybody's had their buys, except for this week is going to be the last week of buys. So, and now you'll see what the Cowboys are really made of. You know, they got these Hawks on Thursday night, then they got the Eagles, and then they got the Bills. So to me, that's 3 tough games. It's going to really show you what the Cowboys are made of.
For me, it really boils down to one simple thing. The Cowboys in the last 3 weeks have covered a 13.5-point spread, 11-point spread, and a 17.5-point spread. And I challenge any of y'all, I bet most of y'all took them points that are out here hating in these comments. I bet you most of y'all took them damn points. I bet you did. And guess what? They consistently are just blowing these teams out the wazoo. It's not even close. They don't belong in the building with us. And then I know what you're going to do. You're going to point at that Arizona game. And the fact is, man, yeah, because it's any given Sunday. Any team can win at any moment in this league. Anybody can be beat by anybody. Shit. If I remember correctly, the only Eagles loss is against the Jets, right?
Yes.
Are the Jets some superpower team? No, it's because anybody can win at every given moment. But the fact is, when we win, we bury you under the ground. You can't breathe anymore. By the time the third quarter rolls around and we're halfway through, you don't even want to play anymore in most situations. Y'all are done. And yes, the level of competition hasn't been great. But tell me this. Did anybody have high hopes for the Chargers at the beginning of this year?
Yes.
Were most of you hating on my Cowboys, talking about how Kellen Moore finally has a real quarterback and they're about to be the hottest team in the whole AFC West?
Yes.
Wasn't that y'all telling me that? I could have sworn that everybody told me that all that Kellen Moore needed was a real quarterback. Somebody want to tell me what the Chargers record is this year? That's okay. We don't need to get into it.
Yeah, we ain't got to worry about that.
Let's just, and it's not even just them. You know, like the people had high hopes for some of these teams. And the fact is, I know that most people out there were telling me to take the points with Washington last week. And we all saw how that worked out. Truth be told, this whole thing is just smoke and mirrors, right? They want to paint this picture like we just ain't nothing, like we're just playing all these games nitty gritty, and you know we're just beating bad teams, but we're not just beating them. That's really the bottom line for me. We are blowing these boys out.
I mean,
speaking of blowing people out, we got a defensive player on our roster that has more touchdowns than a lot of your superstars out there, and Daron Bland. And I gotta ask, man, after Trayvon went down, and we saw that Daron was going to come in and fill that spot, how are y'all feeling about this? Kyle, tell me about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I've talked about it on my channel. I think, so for me personally, Trayvon Diggs is my favorite player on the Cowboys. So when he went down, I took that extra hard. It really took out the fun that I wanted to have this season. Because, you know, Diggs is such a special player. And, you know, I had to look at it realistically where it's like, okay, you know, Gilmore's a little bit older. Daron Bland had a great season last season, but now he's going to be thrown into that spotlight. It was just kind of hard for me to see it in that moment, especially after a loss against Arizona of, okay, is this going to get any better? Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? And I've been completely wrong. I mean, Daron Bland has had such a great season last year for the workload that he was given. So to be able to go into this year and step up, you know, next man up. I mean, he's the epitome of that statement of just stepping into that role that Diggs had left, and to break an NFL record while we're, you know, still got a lot of season to play. I'm amazed, man. I'm amazed. You know, we don't talk about it enough, and we should, but what he's doing is just ridiculous in any kind of perspective that you look at it, Cowboys fan, non-Cowboys fan. And if it were so easy, why haven't other players done it? If it were so easy, you know, why was that an NFL record for so long? So Daron Bland, man, is he's a really special player.
Chris, where you at?
Man, I was going back and forth from Diggs's 11 interception year or Bland's 5-pick-6 years. Which one did I enjoy? Have I enjoyed the most?
One's not done yet.
That's
One's not done yet.
Exactly what I was going to say, Cal. One is not done yet because if this cat get a couple more, he's going to put this record out of reach. Look, when Diggs went down, of course, like every Cowboy fan, you never want your starters to go down. But the performance that Bland had last year, it gave us confidence that he could hold it down. Okay, he may not have the same performance as Diggs, but he'll be okay. But I was so wrong. He exceeded what we thought he would do, and that's always, if you go back and you look, man, we got a 5th round pick. This guy was a 5th round pick. Nobody wanted him. Dude, he came on the scene late. I saw an interview today how the Cowboys was basically hush-hush about him because they didn't want nobody to find out about him. They said Daron Bland agent, man, the week before the draft was blowing up with teams because they found out the Cowboys wanted him. Okay? So, but look, Bland is playing excellent, man. I don't know if it's Bland Island. Are we calling it Bland Island now? Or what we doing? I mean, because if you throw on that side, it's your own. It's like the Bermuda Triangle, baby. You may not see that ball again unless he get in the end zone the other way. Man, I'm just excited that we got a player that's making the defense even better, bro. Because I'm telling you that the pass rush is getting even better week by week. Okay, and then if you throw it on that side and you got a ball hawk that will take it to the house, then they're gonna start to focus on one side of the field. And Gilmore hadn't been too bad this year. I think he had one bad game. I think the Niner game was terrible for him. But other than that, he's had a decent game, decent year. You just don't know it because he don't have picks. But other than that, Bland, hey, man, props to you, bro. Whenever you can set an NFL record and you get your starting quarterback running down the sideline with you to celebrate, man, did you see the excitement on the sideline? Even the coaches couldn't contain their smiles, man, because everybody was cheering for this kid, bro. And like you said, Cal, it ain't over yet. So if we can get 5 more this season, I think we got a real chance to end up somewhere playing in early February.
But to capitalize on what you said, Chris, I mean, it's one thing to get an interception, right? But like his playmaking ability, like you look at the Carolina pick 6, he was a step behind. He dove for it, rolled into it, took it to the house. Right. And that Washington, I mean, man,
the Washington one was sick.
Did you not jump off your couch? Did you not?
I lost it. That one was so sick.
The game was over.
He took it. He was like, "It's mine."
The game was already over. It was just a formality then. But when he took it, when he picked it off, dude, I never jumped off the couch so fast. Like, go! I wanted him to break the record so bad.
Same here.
2 games in a row.
Man. I was sitting most of the game, and then once I saw him pick it, I knew. I was like, okay, here's the record. And man, I thought for a second, I was like, oh man, he's gonna get stuck at the 10, and then he just gets his way through. Man, that might be the play of the year for me so far. I mean, that was exciting. Man, Thanksgiving game was a lot of fun. I'll just say that. Everything about the Thanksgiving game, beginning to end, that was my favorite game of the year so far. That was fun.
And honestly, man, for me, it's so refreshing to see this young secondary just demolish. I mean, just imagine when we get Diggs back.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah. God bless you. Like, when we get Diggs back and it's Diggs and Bland next season, like, shut it down. Forget it. And if we manage to keep Gilmore as, like, the backup and whatnot, hey, you got the depth that you need. I love it. But the fact is, man, what he did was outstandingly impressive. Y'all said everything that needed to be said, and that's really all there is. That's all there is to it, because that man has lit it up this entire year. He has stepped up and showed out. And it's been absolutely beautiful to watch him grow as a player, because corners usually take some time, man. That usually doesn't come automatically like this. And he's only in his second year. He's already got 6 tubs. Like, that's insane. But you got to love what you're seeing out of that.
This will get me, Rue. This will get me. And Cal, I know you're a stats guy too. when this man got more touchdowns than starting wide receivers in the NFL, if I'm a wide receiver, I'm embarrassed. Okay,
absolutely.
I'm embarrassed. What's his name from Seattle? What's the big receiver?
DK.
DK saying he got more touchdowns than me.
Still does too. Still does.
And then he got more touchdowns than some starting receiver groups in the NFL. That's I'm happy on my team. That's all I got to say. I'm
glad he's with us.
Exactly.
I'm glad he's with us.
Hey, 5th round pick. If they hit like that every year, man, we're doing good.
Makes you even matter that we got man. The Trey Lance thing starts to make less and less sense, man, because we do good in that 4th and 5th round. Damn it.
Exactly.
Shoot.
Exactly.
You gave that up for nothing. It looks like. Now we're in that nitty gritty part of the season. We've seen a lot out of this team. We've seen a lot out of these players, and we've seen a lot of growth in terms of what we've looked at, because this team in a lot of different areas is relatively young. And my question to y'all, man, on the offense and on the defense, who's the guy that has grown up and changed the dynamic of his play the most that you've seen basically who's showed up and showed out for you on this young roster that kind of just sticks out to you, that's way better and stepped up since last season and maybe even the year before that? Chris, I'm gonna start with you.
Man, I was hoping you go with Kyle first. I mean, ever since you asked that in the pre-show, I've been thinking. I was like, man, who? Because on defense it's simple. That's Bland. That's the easy one. Okay, that's Bland. Okay. On offense, I got 2 people, bro. I got 2. One is Turpin, because they actually letting him play.
Yeah.
That's number one. They letting him play. It's just like last year, man. I was so confused about how you got an athlete with so much speed that you can't get him on the field or even have packages to get him on the field and expose the defense, and even if he's a decoy, to get him on the field. And this year, I think McCarthy made an effort to make sure Turpin gets several times on offense to make plays. And just like the touchdown he made, I call it the turkey leg catch. When he had the turkey leg catch, you know, I was just like, man, that boy down the seam, a one-on-one against the safety is a mismatch every time. Okay, so Turpin is one for me. And the other one is your favorite player, Rue, is Tolbert. Tolbert. And the reason why, because you can see glimpses, okay, of Tolbert, his ability, okay, because you're noticing it because Michael Gallup is not actually having a lot of catches during game. You can see Dak is actually purposely going to Tolbert now, and I'm actually happy because I for the longest I was just thinking, man, it's just a wasted pick. Why is he here? You know, I like the other kid better, that got to play when Cooks was out. Oh, I can't think of his name. Number 80 was it number? Oh, I can't think of his name right now.
Jalen Brooks.
Thank you, Jalen Brooks.
Yeah,
I liked Brooks more than I liked Tolbert. And I was like, why is Tolbert getting on the field before Brooks? But you know, you can see it. You know, and I'm really happy that he's actually getting a chance. You know, so I can't be on that bandwagon where I'm dogging him out like I did the last year. So those two it'll be Tolbert and my man from TCU.
Kyle, where you at?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough question. I mean, defensively, it has to be Daron Bland, right? But you know, I think we spent a lot of time talking about Daron Bland, so I'll try to choose another. I really like what Marquise Bell is doing.
Oh yes,
I've really been enjoying his play. Him just firing out of the gate Monday Night Football against the Los Angeles Chargers, and I feel like, even though I feel like Leighton Vander Esch fits, I think he's a solid linebacker, but I think with our defense, because they're so aggressive and because they're ball hawks, I personally feel like Marquise Bell fits this defense a lot better. And I feel like that's what we've been lacking so far. I think Leighton was consistent, But what we really need is a linebacker that can fly west to east and chase down some running backs and chase down some tackles. And Marquise Bell does that. I mean, he really reminds me, and this might be far stretch, but he reminds me of this type of player. He reminds me of Fred Warner with his speed and his pursuit. Now, Fred Warner is like a cornerback sometimes. I mean, he's like a safety. He can play coverage too. We've yet to see that from Marquise Bell, but that's what I'm seeing. And so I've really been enjoying it. I mean, again, too, next man up to be able to get your number called halfway through the season and be like, hey, look, our starting linebacker, he may not be back for the rest of the season. And we just gave him a contract extension, 1 year, $5 million. So can you come in here and hold it down? And the Joneses should be very thankful for Marquise Bell holding that down, because if they didn't, this was actually one of the positions that I thought was a little bit on the weaker side in terms of depth. And so him stepping up. And then offensively, man, shoot, I'm just going to go with Dak, man. Like, yes, the interception count was high last season, and of course he didn't play as much, but to see him just completely dominate, I mean, every show I'm going to be on, I will be advocating Dak for MVP. He is absolutely in that conversation, and the only reason why people fail to accept that is because he wears a star on his helmet. He's playing lights out. He doesn't get to choose who he plays, like we've talked about already at the beginning of our show, but he's made the most of it. He has, stepped into the spotlight, and he's played incredibly well. And I don't know if you guys got to catch this, but what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show, that just solidifies it. I mean, he's playing at an all-time level, and he's going into a part of his career that we never saw Tony Romo get to because of his injuries. And that's really great to see. I mean, Dak Prescott is stepping into his prime, which is insane. And he's just to see everything come together too, right? Because we were a little bit stressed out. I know I was about this Mike McCarthy Texas Coast offense, wondering if it was ever going to click. And now we see it clicking, and Dak is distributing the ball. He's patient. He's attacking. And, man, he loves that throw down the seam to Jake Ferguson.
Yeah,
and he can put it right there, man. Like, he's feeling it when he throws that ball down the middle of the field to Jake Ferguson. He's done that a few times already. So I'll go with Dak, man. He's been so much fun to watch, just pre-snap and his little cadence, here we go.
Here we go.
And congratulations, Dak Prescott, for being a girl dad. Shout out to you, man.
Man, can I piggyback off of Kyle real quick?
Hit it, baby.
Say, man, me and Rue have been Dak proponents for the last 2 years. And when I was actually watching the Pat McAfee show when Aaron Rodgers was on, and when he said it, I was like, did he just, it's just like in the mob when you got made, hey, can't nobody think about it. I mean, you think about it.
Welcome to the club.
Aaron Rodgers just made Dak Prescott.
Welcome to the club.
Because with one of the best quarterbacks of all time say, I am so impressed with Dak Prescott, he shut up all Stephen A. Smiths. He shut up all the people on the speak. He shut them all up.
Yep.
Okay? Because one of the best quarterbacks in the league made him. So for that, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan from now on now. Because because I hated Aaron Rodgers. Just all the antics he does and everything like that. But dude, but you gotta respect him too. Because he verified our man that we've been talking about for years, but just because he wore that damn star, people give him respect. Okay, but you got to put respect on that name now.
Can't doubt that anymore. You can't. The man's doing too much with Dak Prescott has been outstandingly impressive, and especially in these last 5 games, going back to the Eagles game, the way he has taken over this offense, like Kyle said, is absolutely outstanding. For me, y'all, on the defensive side, man, Osa Odighizuwa has absolutely unleashed on that defensive front.
Love it.
He is killing it inside the D tackle spot. He is absolutely massacring those guys on the inside, and he's creating a lot of stuff for Micah Parsons to come straight through the middle because Osa is taking on 2 guys at a time. It is a beautiful thing to watch him against the run and the pass. He is absolutely lighting it up. Osa Odigizua should be commended for everything that he's done for this offense. Kyle, you took my other one. My other one was Marquise Bell, because anybody who comes from the safety spot and puts in that linebacker work the way he has been is absolutely outstanding. And we're going to address what Ivan was talking about earlier in the chat. But all I got to say, man, this linebacking core has definitely stepped up. But, man, you can tell the difference just in the run defense. People are not running on us anymore. And Osa has a huge part in that. He is absolutely killing it on that D line.
Rude, do you think he's a Pro Bowler this year?
He's absolutely a Pro Bowler. If he's on the verge of being an All Pro.
Okay.
He is ranked according to PFF. There's only 2 guys that are on this list, and I forgot who the other one was, but one of them is Osa Odigizua. They are ranked at the very top against run and pass defense. Osa is absolutely a Pro Bowler. He is fighting for that All-Pro spot, and I think he might get it by the end of this year. When it comes to the
Go. I'm sorry. Go.
No. Go. Say what you're going to say.
No, I was thinking about something that Kyle said, especially about Bell, and I was like, think about it. We got a red shirt on the team too. Okay, we forgot about my man from Texas, Overshown. So. Yeah. Can you imagine the speed that the Cowboys are going to have going downhill?
Ooh, yeah. Now you're talking.
When they have all 3 of them on the field together. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just thinking about that.
It's absolutely true. Because when Overshown comes back, they're going to be the fastest linebacking core you've ever seen. It's going to be ridiculous.
And then we're going to get Shaquille Leonard, right?
And that's the plan, right? I mean, he was just in Dallas. We bring in Shaquille. We might be a little interesting.
That's the next 7. Let the Roo finish his offense, and then we'll get into that.
So, real quick, and Lint Liquors, my dad's dead. That's rude. I'm just playing. Anyway, on the offense, man, y'all are right on everything that y'all said. But for me, it's Tyler Smith. It's Tyler Smith, man. Tyler Smith has become one of the best guards in this league. Tyler Smith is absolutely killing it for what he's doing up there, man. The way he's able to pull, the way he's able to hold down his side, Tyler Smith has really grown. And let's not forget, this is only his 2nd year. I mean, he was doing great last year, but tell me how many times he's had holding penalties this year.
Maybe twice, maybe
twice.
Maybe.
Yeah. And that's for him, man. This is a guy who came into the league, who everybody told us was raw, who everybody told us was a penalty waiting to happen, who everybody told us was undersized. This man has absolutely proved everyone wrong, and he's on his way to becoming that Pro Bowl left guard that we need him to be. And it's looking absolutely perfect because he's quick, he can pull, he can hold his side. I mean, he's so fast for his size. It's unreal how quick he gets to the edge. How quick he can get around. It's amazing what he's been able to do in such a short amount of time. Tyler Smith deserves a lot of credit for how much he's advanced in this offense.
Hey, the Cowboys know how to give people the right number, don't they?
No doubt. No doubt. He earned that one too. He earned that one, every bit of it. He's looking like he's going to be that man for a very long time. And I'm glad to see how much he's grown up in such a short career already.
Right.
But without further ado, I don't know this fella personally, but obviously, we've had our love fest this first 30 minutes. We've gone through everything that we needed to go through in terms of what we've seen these past few weeks and all the slander that's going around in terms of the competition that we've played. But we got a man crossing enemy lines, and we're going to bring him in now. Tegan, welcome to the show, baby.
Welcome.
Good, y'all.
Welcome.
Deep in enemy lines.
I believe it. And I'm curious, man. I'm not gonna give away your location, but let's just say you're in Texas. And I mean, Texas is huge, man. He could be anywhere.
It is, yeah.
He could be anywhere.
It's a big state.
But I see that Seahawk, them sea chickens on your chest. I'm gonna have to have you explain yourself a little bit and tell us how you're feeling about this week and just kind of introduce yourself to the people.
Well, what's good, everybody? You've probably seen me on open field. I've been on gridiron many, many times, usually wearing a Cowboys hat and usually making a fool of myself. But I have been a Seahawks fan my whole life. My family, I was growing up with Matt Hasselbeck as my quarterback, and then Mr. Unlimited as my quarterback as well. But now we're on the Geno Smith train, and if we're talking about this Cowboys game, we talked about this in the pre-show. -9 spread for the Cowboys is for NFL standards. I love college football. NFL -9's a lot. And honestly, like, I'm not delusional. We're gonna be wearing these beautiful throwback jerseys, looking great, but I don't know if it's going to be that pretty on the field. Cowboys we do not match up well with the Cowboys. They're going to blitz Geno. You know what Geno sucks against? The blitz. But let me push back just a little bit. I'm not going to just harp on my boys like that. This could be a look ahead spot for the Cowboys, and I'll be honest, I think Seattle is in more desperation mode than what the Cowboys are right now, and that is a scary spot. When you're in desperation mode, they could fall out of the playoffs real easily with how bad the NFC is. This Cowboys should watch out because they could be looking ahead to December 10th. Because I know y'all know when December 10th is. That's when the Eagles come into town, and that's when y'all get your rematch.
So, if you had to tell me how your Seahawks are going to win this game, because it's no secret, Tyler Lockett has had himself some good days against us in the past, and your offense is, like you said, you guys are going through a lot right now in terms of the losses and just how you're looking and where you're standing in your division, and obviously you guys are fighting for a wild card spot too, trying to prove that you belong, just like we are in a sense, just because everybody keeps discounting everything that we're doing. But tell me, how do y'all win this game? How does it go down for you? Because obviously K9's gone, but you have Charbonnet, but you've got weapons on the outside, man. You've got DK Metcalf, you've got Tyler Lockett, and it's going to come down to Geno for me. But how do you guys win this game?
I think it comes down to two things. I mean, like you mentioned, I'm in Texas, so I'm surrounded by Cowboys things, and I've watched a lot of your games fully. And listen, I'm not one to judge y'all by the star in your head or by the fan base or anything. I think it really does come down to two things. I go to the Panthers game. There was a lot of parts in that game, even though it was a blowout. You put in Cooper Rush at the very end. I understand that. But if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot with penalties, I know you guys remember in the first half, there was moments where the Panthers were able to run the ball just a little bit, or drives got stalled because of penalties by the Panthers shooting themselves in the foot. If we were able to play a clean game like that, I think turnovers, obviously Daron Bland getting that record and all those things, Geno not throwing a pick, you would love to have that. But I really think on the defense side of the ball for Seattle, y'all mentioned Turpin. If we're not able to tackle, I don't know if y'all saw this headline, but star corner Tariq Woolen got benched because tackling's been an issue in the secondary. So I'm not too worried. Like, don't get me wrong. Am I worried about CeeDee Lamb? Of course, he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. But I'm more worried about guys in the open field, guys like Tony Pollard, Turpin, getting open, and then what they do after. But if we're able to stop that, play a clean game, I think it will be closer. And I think +9 and maybe a little sprinkle on the Seahawks money line might be the best bet.
So you think you make it a one-possession game, if nothing else?
I think this will be the first time where you aren't blowing someone out at home. In the third quarter, you're not kicking back and just watching the backups start cooking.
Kyle, what you got for him?
Like questions?
My bad. I gave you nothing to go on there, did you? Did I? I gave you nothing to go on. I was just like, go, Kyle. No.
I was about to ask, who's your favorite player? Who's your favorite Seahawks? I love me some Sean Alexander. He was one of my favorites growing up. But no, Rue, hit me with those questions.
So my fault. I gotta sit you. I'm not the host, man. Chris ain't here. I'm filling in. I'm the backup right now. I just threw an interception on the cool. Kyle, tell me what's your preface on the game? How do you feel about it going in? If you want to discuss the number, I'd love to hear it. And how do you think we take control of this game and make sure that we take care of business against these Seahawks?
Yeah, I think it's really a mentality point for the Cowboys. I feel like, the mantra has been carpe omnia for the Dallas Cowboys, and that means seize everything. And anytime that they come against a team that is considered, a winning football team, basically have an above 500 record, for some reason, the Cowboys love to get in their own way. Just mentally, they love to get in their own way. I don't know if they overhype themselves or if they overthink things at those points. I mean, they really just have to trust their process and really remember that, hey, you guys really got some good players. And if you just give it to the good players, you're going to find a way to win. And it's when they get cute and when they get creative, and they get in their own way. So this game could absolutely be a game. We learned our lesson with the Cardinals. And, obviously the Seahawks being in the NFC West with the Cardinals as well. I do expect the Cowboys to take care of business here. Looking at the stat sheet, the Seahawks, I said this on my channel, but I feel like 6-5 is a gracious record for the Seahawks. I don't think they've played like a 6-5 team. I know Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are, but I mean, the Seahawks are a little bit misleading with how good people could talk about them. So I personally expect this game to be, I would take that 9. I'll just say it that way. I would definitely take that 9. And I think the Cowboys run away with this game and they handle the Seahawks pretty well.
So you think Cowboys cover the 9?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Chris, what you got?
My thing is, man, just by thinking about this game and everything, I'm excited to play the Hawks. I always like playing against the Hawks. I remember DeMarco Murray going up there to Seattle and running through y'all like hurricane through New Orleans. It was so wonderful. But then we can always go back to our favorite Romo dropping the extra point too. But I like playing the Hawks. But this is my key about the Thursday night game. Our defensive line is better than the Hawks' offensive line. So they're going to get Geno on the ground. And if they get him on the ground and rush him, well, you may see another record-setting game for the Cowboys defense, okay? That's the key because last year, that was the whole issue to me watching Hawks game is protection, okay? And I just think they don't protect their quarterback well. Okay, one person on their team I am very concerned about. Lockett is an all-pro receiver. He is a professional receiver. He don't get a lot of love because he play way up in the Northwest. Okay, if Lockett played for any other team, he'd been Pro Bowler, all-pro every year because this guy, all he does is make plays and make big catches. Okay, he's a sneaky fast receiver. You don't think he's gonna blow past you. Next thing you know, he's way up past you and he's in the end zone and just handing the ball to the referee because he ain't no flashy player. So that's the one player I'm concerned with is Lockett. Other than that, as long as the Cowboys control the line of scrimmage, they'll walk away with this game easy. I'm predicting another 40 burger, and Dak is eating turkey legs in the third quarter.
I got to tell you, for what I'm looking at with this game, I'm trying to boil it down to what it's really going to come down to for the Seahawks and for us to be successful. And truth of the matter is, man, I don't know how you guys are going to be able to create an offense with Geno Smith, because it's not that you don't have the weapons on the outside. It's not that you don't have a decent weapon in the backfield and your rookie running back in Charbonnet. Geno is going to be the one that's going to have to win this game for you, and it's just not going to happen. There's no way that I'm going to be able to sit here and think to myself that he's going to be able to throw against this secondary with that pressure in his face, with Micah Parsons prowling all over the field. I don't see any way possible that you guys do what you need to do to even keep it a contest, because you haven't been able to do that in the last few weeks. Now, saying that, this is still the NFL. And there's no question that Seattle is still in the hunt for these playoffs, and they are a desperate team right now. There's no doubt that these guys, when they come in here with desperation and different kind of motivation, they're going to play at a different level. But the fact is, so are the Cowboys right now. because the Cowboys know that what the narrative is. If you think that these guys haven't turned on a TV or looked at their phone for 1 second and realized that everybody and their mama is talking about the fact that we haven't played anybody, just like in this chat, I just want y'all to keep this exact same energy when we go 4-0 the next 4 weeks against the Seahawks over 500 team, the Eagles over 500 team, obviously. The Bills, who all of you told me were going to go to the Super Bowl, but they sit at 5-7. I guess they're not any good though, right? And then, of course, Miami on Christmas Eve. When we beat all 4 of these teams at home and on the road, then what's the narrative going to be? Then what are you going to say? Because the fact is, man, we don't control the schedule and we don't control how bad these other teams play. But if we end up beating all these teams that you're telling me that we're not better than and that we're going to lose to, well, then what? Is it just fool's gold? Because I'm telling you right now, if we go in and cover this number, that's pretty damn good. And if we go in and cover all the rest of these games, people don't do that, man. These teams, these numbers, they don't cover at this kind of rate. And the Cowboys are killing it right now. And if we go into this next stretch of 4 weeks and we come out on top and we come out victorious, I'm very curious how tail y'all are going to be when it all comes down to the finish, because this is when the season really starts. This is when our schedule is going to get gritty. And this is when we're going to show you that we are that team that you didn't think we were. But when it boils down to these Seahawks, my biggest thing is, man, because I wish I knew more about your defense, because I know that's probably the strength of what you're looking at as a whole on your team. Who are the guys that are going to make a difference and be able to stop our pass game? And are you going to be able to keep our run game down? Because that's probably the weakest part of our offense right now is that run game. How are you going to be able to maintain Dak Prescott, especially with a corner down like you had mentioned? And what is your defense going to look like against my offense? How are they going to be successful?
Well, you see, I think we actually, that's one matchup that I feel like we are pretty good on when it comes to how our linebackers play. Got Bobby Wagner, who isn't great in coverage, but there is supplement to that with Jordan Brooks, who I think is a rising star. I understand he's in the Northwest. If you do not know about Jordan Brooks, he is a killer. And I think he's a great linebacker who's able to play in run fits and in the passing game, while Bobby Wagner has kind of just been a run defender, and he's still an elite level at that. I know Tariq Woolen got benched last week. There's expectation that he starts, and physically he's going to match up well. Devon Witherspoon is a name that I think is the key, especially in the secondary. Not only in coverage, he's probably our best tackler as a rookie, and I think he's been one of the best rookies in the NFL. Our safety tandem with Jamal Adams in the box. You'll have Julian Love that will come into nickel plays. I think matchup-wise, the secondary should do well in the passing attack. It's more just in the open field, like I said. If they're able to dink and dunk, I understand this is – at least my expectation is there's going to be a couple plays where Dak pushes it downfield, because there's always going to be those plays. That's just what McCarthy wants to do. But I think – how well they're able to contain the short passes and be able to tackle in the open field with guys like Turpin. I understand. I don't know if the Cowboys have been doing the wildcat formation. I know that was implemented a little bit during the Panthers game. I don't know if they put that during Thanksgiving at all, but
that was the only time.
Yeah, it did not work. Glad McCarthy moved off of that one. But I do agree with Chris. I think that it is down to the line of scrimmage, and I think our pass rushers is probably our weakness. I don't know how well they're going to do against Dak, and Dak may have a lot of time in the pocket, but additions like Leonard Williams, I'm not too concerned about Tony Pollard in the run game. I understand it's gotten better over the past couple weeks, but I don't think that's what's going to burn us. I think it's going to be getting guys open in the open field and then stopping the play on the catch versus a couple more.
And just real quick, before one of y'all jumps in, tell me you don't know football without telling me you don't know football. That's literally this comment right here. He barely moved. That's a false start, honey. Just so you know. Like, we talking about false start. He barely moved. That's a false start. Doesn't matter how much he barely moved. Tell me you don't know football without telling me you don't know football. This is why we don't pay no attention to y'all.
Do the Seahawks make it to the playoffs? Because they got a tough stretch of games here in the next 4 weeks.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's crazy that a lot of teams coming up are just all like it's all of these matchups. I don't know if y'all have had any realization that the primetime games have been a little bit rough, but I feel like these upcoming weeks are just going to be fantastic. But you're right. I mean, last week we saw what happened with the 49ers, and there's something I always say in college football. Whenever you just get smacked one week, you go into wounded animal mode, and that's why I think Seattle is going to be desperate in this, because I don't know how they beat an Eagles team in 2 weeks, and then they play, I believe, the Niners again.
Right.
And I mean, the Niners just do not match up well, and by any means, the Cowboys are still a very difficult team. But do I see more of an avenue with y'all? I think so. More just because of the strengths of our team versus the strengths of the other ones. And yeah, I mean, if we go 0-4 in this stretch, we start thinking, okay, at what point is it worth just losing the rest of the games and drafting a quarterback just because you're able to get off of Geno Smith this next offseason, but you're also having a very young team. This team is objectively still very young. I would love to make the playoffs, of course, but I would rather take a better quarterback in the draft versus just getting to the 7th seed just to get massacred like we did last year.
Let me ask you this, Tegan. Let me ask another.
I'm sorry. How are you going to double down on that? Really? You're going to double down on your dumbass comment? Seriously? Really doubling down on that? Everybody move. It's the offensive line. They can't move, honey. They can't move. Like, stop it. My bad, Kyle. I'm sorry. I can't believe you double down on that.
I want to keep asking questions about the Seahawks. Tegan, do you miss Russell Wilson?
No, because it got us it hit a reset button on our franchise that we were able to get a lot of pieces. I mean, we wouldn't have Tariq Woolen, we wouldn't have K9, we wouldn't have Charbonnet, we wouldn't have Devon, we wouldn't have Charles Cross. And I do think part of the issue with our offensive line has been injuries. We haven't had Charles Cross or Abe Lucas on the same field together since, I believe, week 2. We got off the contract. I understand Geno has kind of wrote back these past couple weeks. And my buddy Trent has called it a Linsanity run. But
that's pretty good.
But, yeah, I give him credit. I give him credit. But do I miss Russ? No, because I'll be honest, I think Sean Payton was the only man that could really fix him, and they're going on their own insanity run, and they're paying for a quarterback like that. So do I have a Russell Wilson jersey in my closet right now? Of course.
Like, Super Bowl.
But I also have a Richard Sherman one, and he betrayed me and went to the 49ers. So we all have these different jerseys, but I don't miss Russell Wilson. I'm happy with where my team stands.
Okay, last question here regarding Seahawks. How content are you with Pete Carroll as your head coach? And are you ready to move on? And if you were to move on, who's an ideal person to fill those shoes?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you asked that, because 2 years ago, right when the Russell Wilson debacle kind of like came to a peak, I had made a video saying it was time to move off of Pete. They had bad draft choices. I don't know if y'all remember, like LJ Collier was like a first-round pick for us. We picked Rashad Penny in the first round. It was a lot of years of picking.
Penny was a first-rounder?
Yep. He was
really?
30.
I didn't
pick
know
30.
That.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Crazy. I mean, Rashad Penny, when he was able to play, but he was never able to play, so it's still a bad pick. And so it was years of that. You had the Russell Wilson thing, and it just didn't feel like it was going anywhere, and you just wanted to hit the reset button. And I had called for his job. But to look into 2023 moving forward, I still think he's a great coach. I think the concern is when the team ages, it kind of ages like milk. It kind of gets spoiled after a while. Guys can't – he's such a player's coach. I mean, he's still a young guy at heart. Like, he's great with a young set of guys. But when those guys start wanting their contract extensions, you get kind of tired of hearing the same old, we're all in this together. And so, yeah, I could see the avenue where it's time to move off of Pete maybe in 2 to 3 years, especially if it's just plateaus and we're middle of the
He's
pack.
getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Is,
I mean, it could just be a retirement situation and a replacement. It ranges.
True.
I like that's a question that's hard to answer just because
I hear Urban Meyer's available.
Oh, please no. I was like, the only brain that I could only think of USC coaches, so I thought of
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
And he's probably going to the NFL, but please not my team.
And I gotta say though,
I wanted to check the temperature in Seattle. That's all I wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta say, man, Pete kind of looked like a mad scientist or a mad genius, once he did all that, man. Because y'all really did hit it out of the park with those draft picks. Y'all, I mean, nobody expected you to do anything last season. You made it to the playoffs. That's huge. And truth be told about Geno, man, he's serviceable. He's not in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. But the fact is, you're not paying him that much. You're not paying him that much, and you're getting that chance to maybe rebuild. And it's definitely possible that you take a quarterback in this draft, especially if you lose these next 4 games, which I don't know how it's going to look because the NFC is I feel like the NFC is completely wide open on this side. And I don't know who it's going to end up being in these wild card spots, but it's definitely interesting to find out if y'all are going to be able to, pull your weight or not and get in. Because, I mean, obviously you've had the injuries and obviously things have gone on, but I feel like Pete Carroll has really, really kind of shown who he is in terms of being able to build this team after the departure of Russ, because everybody thought y'all were crazy. Nobody thought y'all were winning a game last year. And that's a fact. Chris, you got anything on?
Tegan, hold up. Let me ask you this question. Would you be open, and I'm going to poke the bear here with other people in the room, but would you be open to a Dan Quinn reunion and DQ becomes your head coach next year?
Oh, I would. I mean, I have love for Dan Quinn. I would absolutely welcome that. I'm an offensive guy. When I study film, I watch offense. So, of course, I'm going to lean towards an offensive guy. My favorite coach is Mike McDaniel. But a guy like Dan Quinn, I would love for him to get another opportunity as a head coach. I think he's a defensive mastermind, and there's a reason why I'm hesitant to pick my Seahawks against y'all because I know he's going to send the house and then some against Geno, who's not going to do well against the blitz.
You can't have him anyway. We're not giving him to you. That's not. Don't even speak that into existence, Kyle.
He's going somewhere.
Don't do that. No, he's not going anywhere. Jerry gonna pay him like a head coach, keep him right here, just like we did this year. He is not going anywhere. He's not. He gets all the credit, none of the blame. Why would he leave? And he getting paid. I ain't hearing all that. Nope. Dan Quinn is not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. All right, we're getting to the latter part of the show.
Or maybe they get Kellen Moore. Who knows?
You can have Kellen. Kellen, you can have. Kellen, you can have. You can have that guy. I love how Staley getting all the blame too. Like, you gotta love that, man. Everybody's after Staley head, but I mean, honestly, it's well deserved. He's made some very questionable decisions. There's no doubt about that. Now, we're getting to the latter part of the show. We're getting close to the end here, and I've got to ask, man, because the predictions are here, and I got to know where we're at in terms of what we think for this game. And honestly, if y'all want to give me some intel on what you're thinking the next coming week for the Cowboys, we can get into that a little bit too. But Chris, final score for this game. How is it going down in AT&T Stadium, Jerry World?
Well, first of all, thanks Tegan for coming on the show. It's hard for me to like the enemy. But the guy, he just makes so much sense, and I have nothing to rebut to him. And I like, damn it, give me something that I can go with, and he won't give it to me. So kudos to Keegan to know when you come into any territory, you really just be respectful and just say the obvious, and I appreciate that. But, for entertainment purposes, at least say some crap that I can get a hold to. Anyway.
I mean, we had a Giants fan tell us they were going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so
after week one. Giants were going to the Super Bowl.
I was looking for something like that, but Tegan is just too much knowledge, and you can tell he knows football, and I can't stand it. Anyway, so the prediction for the game as a biased and unrealistic Cowboy fan, I just shot you, Kyle, for this. But anyway, I think the Cowboys is going to put another 40 burger up. I got the Cowboys. Last week I said the Cowboys was going to win 42-14. They won 45-10, was it? Okay. So we're going to continue these 40 burgers. Give me Cowboys 43. Let me give you the Seahawks. I'm going to give y'all 20.
Kyle, where you at?
Yeah, I think we're kind of in this similar headspace because I'm going to give the Seahawks 20 as well. I think it'll be like 13 points towards the end of the game, and they get a garbage touchdown, and that's how they get 20. But I got the Cowboys. I don't know if it's going to be 40. I'm going to give them 37. So I got the Cowboys 37, Seahawks 20. Cowboys keep going. They're undefeated at home. They extend their winning streak to 3 games in a row. They're going to have this mini bye week before they take on the Eagles, which would be real nice. And I think Dak Prescott has another great game with multiple touchdowns where we get to keep the MVP hype up. So that's what I think.
No more trap games.
Love it. Love it. Tegan, what's your final score?
I know I've pinned it to say that, there's a good chance Cowboys could cover the spread. But you know what? That's no fun. That's no fun. We don't like taking no damn Cowboys.
I respect that. He's got to go down with this shit.
Stand there with my own 2 eyes, not through no television screen. I'm going to stand there with my own 2 eyes and watch Geno Smith and them boys win 27-20. Let's go Hawks.
27 points on my defense.
Well, I love that score because if it does go the other way, which it could absolutely, it would be a close game like that. So if it does turn into that, that is very realistic. If the Cowboys do not show up and if it is a dogfight,
it'll never happen.
I'm not saying it will, big fella. I'm not saying it will. I'm with you. I think the Cowboys handle their business, but if it turns that way, Tegan's onto something there.
Keegan is going to stand there with his 2 eyes and 2 feet, and he's going to realize that 40 burger got put on his ass again. That's what's going to happen.
The Dos Equis is going to taste real good.
Bring your billfold with you. That shit ain't cheap.
Oh, God. You don't got to tell me.
For me, man, I feel like the mistakes are going to be made. I feel like this defense is going to take advantage of that offense. I feel like we're going to frazzle Geno Smith and we're going to put that pressure in his face and take care of the turnover game in this ball game. I feel like our D line is going to just demolish that offensive line. But I know with the weapons of Seattle, I'm kind of in that same space with y'all. But I'm a tick lower. I'm a Price is Right, y'all, real quick. But I've got the Cowboys winning 34-17 is what I'm seeing this game fall out to be. 34-17. And honestly, I feel like in that first half, it may be a little close for comfort. But once that second half rolls around, they're going to let it loose. You should see Dak all the way up until, probably 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yo, Rue, could I close with the final question?
Absolutely.
This one's a fun one, and everyone can answer on this one. But like I said in our pregame, I feel like low-key Cowboys Seahawks has been a fun rivalry back and forth. I want each of us to pick our favorite moment, favorite game from this Cowboys Seahawks rivalry. I got to go with the Romo one where we went down to Seattle and we got that win in 2014 and we took down the Legion of Boom and Romo got a win on the road. We had Dez, we had DeMarco Murray, we had Rolando McClain. Remember that? And we took down Russ and the Seahawks. That was one of my favorites.
Well,
Chris,
that was mine too because DeMarco Murray went crazy that game. Everybody had picked the Hawks that game because the Hawks was basically undefeated at home, and they pranced up there into the open air of Seattle, breathe in that legal stuff, and they kicked their ass. So I remember that one.
What sucks for me, man, the fact is we have one game out of the last 5 matchups to choose from, and it's that game because that's the one we won, damn it. In the last 5 matchups against Seattle, they are 4-1 against us. And yeah, it's got to be the playoff game for me, baby. I don't know what other game it could be for me. 2014 feels like an eternity ago, man. So that's gonna have to be the one for me. I mean,
because they hadn't played much because they used to be in the AFC, So that's the issue that we don't have much history, but it's some.
What about you, Tegan? What's the game?
Probably the Romo.
So this is how you hold the ball. You hold it.
This man busted out props. You know, torment me with the damn Tony Romo and everybody after the game. Why is Tony holding the damn field goal steps?
Hey, he got us. He got us. Hey, kudos.
Yeah. That one hurts so bad, man. That one hurts so bad. I thought he was gonna run that thing in and just got wrapped up. I was like, oh no.
He had to bring the props out though. He
propped it out. He brought the prop out there. They just hit. This is how you hold a football, ladies and gentlemen. When you hold it.
Hey, Rue. Thanks a lot, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kyle. Way to go, buddy. You got to bring back my old torment.
The show is over.
All right, y'all. It's been a pleasure. It's been real. Tegan, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to your boys. I hope you have fun at the game.
Plug
Kyle,
in your socials, Tegan.
Chris.
Plug in your socials.
Oh, yeah. Do your socials, Tegan. What you got?
Oh, yeah. It's TEGAN Randolph, Tegan Randolph. Real simple on everything. Tegan Randolph Show on YouTube and TikTok. Go see my college football content.
Awesome.
That's what's up. That's what. Shit.
Matter of fact,
did you bring it
blue.
up? Just 30 seconds, real
Go
quick.
blue.
Who's winning the title this year?
Ooh.
Who's winning the title? Who's going to be?
Back to back.
He called it
Go
Georgia.
Dogs.
Fair enough. Who's getting the number 4 spot?
Okay. Who's
Who's getting the number 4 spot?
Is Florida State getting in? Yes or no?
No.
If they go undefeated, yes.
If they go undefeated, yeah, they got. I mean,
who gets the 4 spot between
Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State?
Oregon. Bo Nix for Heisman.
Really? That's funny. You know, we have a mutual opponent, right? We have a mutual opponent. What did Tech do to y'all?
Also, well,
that's what I thought. 50 piece, baby. Talk to me when you put a 50 piece on them boys.
Are you a Texas fan by chance?
Maybe. You know I am. Oh, you dirty! All right, we're done. I see you in college. I will see you in College Station next year. I will be there with bells on. Yeah, go on out here with your Arkansas nonsense. Get out of here with that craziness. We got the blue. We got Big Blue over here. We got the Razorback, and I got a dirty ass down in. Hey, you know this is universal, right? Like this isn't y'all's. Y'all don't own this. This doesn't belong to you. This is where it's at right here. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
we appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Take care. See you next week.
Peace.